joy profound in a world where many miracles abound. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. What a wonderful feeling to finally know that love is mine wherever I may go, to see the world with an open mind, to believe that grace is here and life is kind. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. Now this is the part of the song where I would love for the audience to sing with me. I want to hear everybody sing. All is well. 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 All life is good and all is well. Keep lifting it higher. I said living in the joy, living in the grace that we woke up this morning with. Won't you feel the peace? Won't you feel the love? Keep taking it higher. Ladies, take it higher. All is well. All is well. All is well. All is well. Oh, in the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well. In the garden of my soul, I am happy, healed, and whole. I know that God is good and all is well.
Good morning, Unity of Omaha. My name is Elisa Choquette, and I am your board president, and also happy to be with you today platforming. Reverend Brenda is actually taking this Sunday off. She's not even at a work retreat or anything. She's actually enjoying a Sunday off. And yes, and we are blessed with an amazing speaker from the Nebraska Buddhist Temple, Pam Burfin. So she will be speaking with us very soon and also leading us in a special meditation here in just a bit. So we're very happy to have you here. We do have a few announcements. First of all, it is the first Sunday of the month. So that's when we like to celebrate anyone who's having a special birthday, anniversary, or celebration for the month of May. If you feel comfortable, we invite you to please stand so that we can honor you with song.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. you always do for others, and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young.
All right, just a few more announcements before we get things started. We wanted to let you know that we are celebrating Asian Pacific Islander Awareness Month, and so we honor that the divine is in all of us, and we love the different expressions of the divine here on earth, and we celebrate everyone. Also, we are looking for someone who would be interested in the outreach program lead. So the outreach person is those that would be looking for those special events where we can get the word out about what Unity of Omaha is. So if you're interested in being at a booth at Pride or a booth at Mystic Fest, or you're just interested in how we can get our word out there more, that really is something that you're passionate about, come speak to me or Reverend Brenda or anybody, and we can hook you up with the right person and tell you more about it and see if it speaks to something you'd like to do. And speaking of being in service, today we have a spirit in action possibility. So those are those things that just spontaneously we could definitely use some help with. And today's is just going to be right outside here in the cafe space at the tables. And we are wrapping candy with affirmations that we will be giving away at some of these booths, such as Pride and Mystic Fest. So if you would like to just help us wrap up those affirmations while you sit and chat and catch up on your week and eat some good food, then we will be out there for that so that we can come together in community. And Spa for the Soul, we can't say it enough. Sunday, May 21st, we're going to have that starting at noon in the History Room. We have lots of practitioners from inside Unity of Omaha and outside of Unity of Omaha. We have different vendors. There's going to be so many new things there, and it's always great to enjoy Spa for the Soul. And so even more details are coming out. You can get them on our Facebook page and our e-blast. And so we hope that you all can attend. And of course, our Healing Arts team is never without something going on. They really support us fully. So remember, the second Sunday of the month, we have our drumming circle. And we also have our Qigong on the third Sunday of the month. And we also have our meditation group. We just want to keep reminding that, letting people know that there's so many opportunities out there, not just our 10:30 a.m. service. So at 9 a.m. on Sundays, there's also a meditation group, and we have different facilitators for that meditation. All are welcome, both beginners and those who have been meditating for years. It's a really welcome, safe space to enter that space of meditation. And speaking of meditation, this is the time that I get to introduce our special guest speaker. And I brought up my notes because she has a lot that she does that's really impressive, so we're in for a treat. So Pam Griffin, she's a longtime member at the Nebraska Zen Center, and she has a lot of roles there. She is also the president of their board of directors, and she conducts 4 introduction to Zen classes each year for them. She meets and leads discussions with world religion classes at UNO, Central High, and other institutions. And additionally, she serves as a volunteer for Buddhist services and practices at the Omaha Correctional Center and Tecumseh State Prison. So we're really blessed by her today, and she's going to bring us into a time of meditation, of more of a Buddhist meditation. So with that, please welcome Pam.
I'm not used to meditating with a microphone. So in Buddhism, we start meditation. In fact, I think if it's all right, I'll just sit while we're doing this. And so then I can kind of keep in mind what we're doing. In our meditation, we're focused on the spine. You want to find a comfortable spot in your chair where you feel comfortable, but you can keep yourself pretty upright. Might want to think of the crown of your head is suspended from a string from the ceiling. And then everything else can kind of hang below that. You can bring your palms together or your hands together in your lap, your left palm sitting on your right palm, and then your thumb tips together, lightly touching. We don't close our eyes in Buddhist meditation. We actually stare at the wall. And you can keep your eyes open and kind of at a 45-degree angle down, like awnings on a window. And then just rest there, relax your body below the top of your head. You might start by taking a couple of really deep breaths all the way in and then all the way out. Give a little final push so you can feel that place in your diaphragm where the breath comes from. Then you're going to want to just bring your awareness to your breath. You don't want to focus too tightly on your breath or count it or anything like that. Just bring your awareness to your breath. Use it as your foundation and your anchor to keep you from floating away with your thoughts. You settle into natural breathing. Then you also want to open up your senses. We're not shutting anything out in our meditation. We're really bringing it all in, everything in the present moment. So when thoughts arise, you can watch them rise and you can let them go. You just don't want to follow them out of the room. As one Zen teacher put it, open the front door of your mind and the back door. Let your thoughts parade through. Just don't invite them to tea. So notice your senses, your hearing, and everything is unfocused. Your eyes are unfocused. Your hearing is unfocused. You're just bringing everything in and experiencing the present moment as it is. Just relax with it for a while. Notice whatever feelings and sensations arise. Just be lightly aware of them. You don't have to change them. Just be aware of them. We want the mind to be able to be with itself without constantly leaving. You're not pursuing past thoughts. You're not inviting future thought. Create a gap in your mental process where something else can come through. If you have pleasant experiences while you're sitting, don't attach to them. If you have unpleasant experiences while sitting, don't attach to them either. You see them, you let them pass. What we can learn from meditation is how to notice what arises and not be carried away by these fleeting feelings of liking and disliking. Just be aware of your own mind and let it be undisturbed and free from confusion.
Would everyone please stand for the Spirit song? Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. 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 I used to think that I had to. I used to think that I should. Oh, the world told me that I had to be good. Now I love because I want to. I love because I'm free, embraced by the Spirit. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is. Oh, every day. Spirit of God is upon me. Yeah, the Spirit. The Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of love is upon me. Oh,
Don't need any prodding. I don't need any law. I wanna sing with all my heart. Spirit is my guide. I let go of my burdens. Love and knowledge make me free. Embraced by the Spirit. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, He is.
oh,
Every
the
day.
Spirit of joy is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of joy is upon me.
It's upon me.
Oh, the Spirit of joy is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of joy is upon me. Oh, let's hear from the band. Oh, the Spirit of truth is upon me. 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 Oh,
I thought it was my duty. I thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed that loving would be hard. Loving is wonderful and it can be ecstasy. I'm grateful for my freedom. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, it is.
oh, the Spirit of God is upon me.
Yes, it is.
The Spirit of God is upon me.
Yes, it is.
Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh, the Spirit of God is upon me. Oh.
And today's daily words of inspiration are from our chaplain today, Lucy Long. And Lucy will be able to hold you in prayer over in the chapel after service as well. And this is from Unity's Prayers from Earth. prayers for Earth. Working together, I affirm that the perfect progression of planet Earth and all of its inhabitants, the winged ones, the swimming ones, the four-legged and the two-legged ones, the crawling ones, the ones who make their homes inside the earth, and even our plant and rock brothers and sisters, is unfolding now. Reveal to us how to work together to protect, care for, respect, and honor each other and our home. Let us discover each day the life-sustaining elements of this earth that heal and restore. Inspire all humanity to move in harmony with the natural flow of the earth. We are grateful for the beauty, peace, and divine order we experience as we move about our day. All is well.
Well, I've been searching outside myself, looking high and low, asking everyone else, what's the meaning of life and why am I here? And the answers I get ain't what I want to hear. I have to find new time to be still. I would hear the voice of higher will. 'Cause it's an inside job. I gotta look within. I've got to start, yeah. Take time to listen. It's an inside job. Gotta play my part. Oh, take a deep breath and see what I found on the inside. Yeah, yeah.
So busy, just running around. I'm spinning my wheels as my life turns upside down. It's a wonder I function, it's a wonder I'm sane. My soul is waiting for something to say. I have to find some time to be still. I would hear the voice of higher will. 'Cause it's an inside job. I gotta look within. I've got to start. Oh, and take time to listen. It's an inside job. I gotta free my mind. Yeah, take a deep breath and see what I found on the inside.
I care enough to slow it right on down. 'Cause when I'm still, I know the answers are gonna be found. 'Cause it's an inside job. I gotta be prepared. I've got to start. Oh, and take time to listen. It's an inside job. Gotta breathe my mind. Oh, it's time to relax. Take a real good look inside. It's an inside job. Searching for peace. Oh, mine. See what I found. 'Cause it's an inside job.
I'm too lazy to stand up. Well, hi, and thank you for inviting me here. This is a really interesting exercise you're going through this year, inviting other people to come in and talk about other religions. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. My name is Pam. I am not a priest. I'm just a practitioner at the Nebraska Zen Center Heartland Temple. It's an institution that surprisingly has been here in Omaha about 50 years, even though nobody knows about it. The Rakusu here, just to explain, is just something that a Zen student does through a process called receiving the precepts, which are the Buddhist ethical rules. And you go through a course of study with the priest or teacher. You take a whole bunch of pieces of material, you hand sew them together and make this thing, and then when you're done, the priest puts some sayings on the back side of it and gives you a Dharma name. So there's a little ceremony. I have about 20 minutes to go through about 2,500 years of history. So we'll leave most of the history out of it, actually. What is Buddhism about? What are its beliefs? So my first teacher always said, Buddhism is not about belief. It's about the experience of things as they are. So this is true. There is an element of faith in the Buddhist religion, but it's not about belief in the usual sense, but rather about seeing and understanding the true nature of things. So the core focus is on helping people to understand the nature of the world and their place in it, with the purpose of alleviating, to relieve the suffering that people experience because they don't understand that. Buddhism is a non-theistic religion, as are many Eastern religions. This doesn't necessarily mean it's atheistic. There are Buddhists who are atheists. There are Buddhists who are agnostic. There are Buddhists who believe in one God. There are Buddhists who believe in many gods. It's just that the belief in a deity is not a concept that is included in the practice of Buddhism. Generally speaking, Buddhism doesn't concern itself with things that are unknowable. So, for example, when the Buddha was questioned about how the world came into being and how it was recreated, he just didn't answer these questions. He viewed it, excuse me, he viewed it as like a man who's been struck by an arrow, asking how the arrow was made and where it came from, instead of trying to take the arrow out of his body and relieve his suffering. So that's the primary focus of the Buddhist teaching. It tends to be very rationally based. A high value is placed on questioning and on trusting your own experience. It's not built on a foundation of black and white authority and certainty. In fact, uncertainty is kind of rampant in Buddhism. And it's part of the intention to sort of leave you somewhere out in mid-air, so you can really, drop all of your preconceptions and get to the heart of things. So Buddhist teaching and practice exist in comfortable harmony with science. The Dalai Lama said that if science proves that our teachings are wrong, then our teachings have to change. I find personally that the more science discovers, the more it resonates with Buddhist teachings. It's uncanny, actually, in a way. So, clearly, the Buddha is not a deity. After he experienced his enlightenment, he encountered friends that he had practiced with for a number of years, and they could see that there was something amazing that had happened to him. He was just different. And they said, "Are you a god now?" And he said, "No." They said, "Well, are you a deva, an angel type being now?" He said, "No." And they said, "Well, what are you then?" He said, "I am awake. I am awake." The word Buddha literally means the awakened one. And there were Buddhas before Buddha. There were Buddhas after Buddha. There are Buddhas in the world today. These are awakened beings. In our rituals, we have a lot of bowing. And our root founding teacher, Japanese teacher, Katagiri Roshi, was asked once by a student up in Minnesota, who are we bowing to? Are we bowing to Buddha? And he said, "Well, yes, you are bowing to Buddha, but you are Buddha. That's what you're bowing to, your own Buddha nature." So the life of the Buddha, like the lives of many great teachers, tends to acquire a lot of fanciful variations, with gods and demons and mythological beings and that sort of thing. You can take them all with a grain of salt if you want, but in fact there was a real person. His name was Siddhartha Gautama. He was born in India, or in part of India that is now Nepal, actually, about 500 years before Christ. And he was a prince in one of these clan kingdoms that there were a lot of in India at the time. It was called the Shakyas, which is why he is referred to as Shakyamuni Buddha now in a lot of places. In the course of his young life, there are lots of stories, but he became troubled by his encounters with sickness, with old age, with death. And he was consumed with this problem of human suffering that he saw. And he was like a man on fire. He left his princely obligations, he left his family obligations, and he went on a quest to find a resolution to this problem of human suffering. So ultimately, his years of study and wandering and all that led to his great enlightenment. And he became the Buddha, the awakened one. So what was his realization? He realized that there are 3 marks of existence. First, everything is impermanent. Everything is transitory. There's no beginning, there's no end. Everything is always transforming. We know this, we just don't like to think about it. Nothing lasts. And then the second mark of existence is kind of related to that one, but it relates to the self. Ourselves are the same way. They're not permanent, and in fact, they're always transforming, always changing. I am just a pile of change, you might say. So there's no real self. This is called non-self. And in fact, it's a primary point of Buddhist practice to just get over yourself, basically. And the third mark of existence was suffering. And this comes from our difficulty in accepting the first 2 marks, impermanence. Our everything is impermanent and transitory, and our desire to divide the world into concrete, separate things it doesn't really fit with the reality, the fluid nature of reality. So from his realizations, the Buddha came up with his central teaching, which is called the 4 Noble Truths. The first noble truth is there is suffering. Now, this word suffering is kind of misleading. It's not really the best translation of the Sanskrit word. The best translation is more like dissatisfaction. It's like unease, dis-ease. It's basically let me turn the page here. It's the stress and dissatisfaction experienced by everyone who's not awakened to their true nature. For them, nothing in the world can bring lasting, deep satisfaction. No one is satisfied. Now see, that sounds more familiar, doesn't it? So the second noble truth is there's a cause for this suffering. The cause of this suffering is what we call the three poisons: greed, anger, and delusion. So what do we mean by greed? Greed, we mean attachment, grasping. This is wanting what you don't have, or wanting more of what you do have, or being too attached to what you already have. This is consuming, never getting enough. This is us, you know. This is America, but also the whole world. The second one is kind of the flip side of that. This hatred or anger is aversion. This is aversion to what we don't like, what we don't want. Annoyance, anger, all these feelings that arise from the things that you don't want or don't like. It sounds like politics, doesn't it? A lot. And the third poison is delusion, which is not understanding the true nature of things, the reality of existence, impermanence, no self. We don't understand the illusory nature of our own existence. The third noble truth is this suffering can actually end. It doesn't have to go on forever. And the fourth noble truth is the way to end suffering. This is a path of practice that can lead to the end of suffering. It's called the Eightfold Path, and it includes 8 areas of focus. It's right view, right understanding, right action, right speech, right livelihood, and so on and so forth. And you'll notice that they all start with the word right, which isn't an exact way to express it. It's really more like this is a wholesome, skillful way of viewing the world, of acting in the world, of speaking in the world. Nothing in Buddhism is just black and white or right and wrong. The Buddha always emphasized the importance of seeing for yourself. He said, this is my fold path. This is my suggestion for you. I think it'll help, but see for yourself. Try it out. See if it works for you. I should also mention the ethical principles in Buddhism. We call these the Bodhisattva precepts. So earlier when I was talking about this, I was studying these Bodhisattva precepts. These are all inherent in the teaching itself, but like any spiritual teachings, it's really easy for people to misuse them for improper purposes. And as we've all seen, they have to be accompanied by rules of ethical conduct, much as the 10 Commandments in Christianity. But yet, they're not exactly like the 10 Commandments. On first view, they might look a lot like them, but you have to view them with a different mind. A mind that, in a way that makes you realize that they are in many ways impossible. Then they become, at that point, they become an invitation for you to really examine your actions and what you do and consider the consequences of them. To examine your actions in a really open way. So I'll just give you an example. Let's take the first one. You know, a follower of the way does not kill. Well, if you really think about it, we can't live without killing. You can't even walk across your lawn without killing. And if you have a garden, my God, it's like a slaughterhouse out there. You know, you're always picking and choosing who lives and who dies. So, you know, rather than, you know, trying to just stop living, you can start thinking about your actions in a way that, you know, how can I minimize the harm I do in this world? And if I can't change something, then acknowledge it, appreciate what you're doing, realize what you're doing, give honor to, you know, what you harm through your living. That's the way we think about these precepts. Buddhism today, there are many different schools of Buddhism, much as with Christianity. You can identify distinctions between those, but, you know, actually in the modern world, there's a lot of crossover and borrowing and convergence of teachings and practices all the time. Nebraska Zen Center Heartland Temple is a Soto Zen Buddhist temple. Zen Buddhism originated in China and then traveled to Japan and Korea and on from there. Soto Zen actually comes out of Japan. And so in our practices, we actually still use a lot of Japanese terms are part of our practice. Zen Buddhism places great importance on sitting meditation and also on the direct transmission of knowledge between a teacher and a student. So Zen meditation, which we call Zazen, is key, and also the relationship between a teacher and student is key as well. These are important to go together. So why meditation? Meditation is central to our practice. It's not just a stress relief method. It's a discipline of cultivating the mind. It's training the mind to do what we want it to instead of moving blindly in automatic pilot down the path of our habitual patterns. The mind is like a wild animal. And if you don't tame it, it can drag you around to some very strange places. So sitting meditation is a process of learning to observe the operations of your mind, of your brain, and understand what's useful and what's noise. You don't suppress the operations of mind. You just remove yourself enough to recognize what they are. You let them come and go without attaching to them. And also, it's a process of realizing that you are more than your thinking brain. Thank heavens. There's wisdom in the body as well, and there's wisdom in us that connects to a much larger mind or consciousness as well. Like I said, it's all about getting over yourself. Dogen, the founder of Soto Zen Buddhism, said, to study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be enlightened by all things. And to be enlightened by all things is to remove the barriers between you, between yourself and others. So that's kind of my spiel. Do you have questions that you'd like to ask about Buddhism? There you go. How many? Oh, usually on a Sunday morning like this, we'll have 20, maybe around 20 people. It's a small group. I would say we have, 12 to 15 really core people who kind of run the center. And I didn't explain that Nebraska Zen Center has always had a resident priest or priest there until the fall of 2021, when we had a husband and wife priest team, and they left suddenly without succession. So we're currently in the process of searching for a new head priest. So if there's one in your neighborhood, let us know. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You have to turn the mic on.
I was saying I learned a lot from Pam, but not learned a lot about how to work the mic. So with that, we are going to move into a state of gratitude, both for what we were able to enjoy and share today, but always what we were able to share and receive as well here at Unity of Omaha as we move into our time of our walk of abundance. If you would like to support Unity of Omaha, we would love it. There's different ways that you can do that. You can text 402-543-5339, or you can go to our brand new website and there's a donate button on there, or you can Google PayPal Unity of Omaha, or we can definitely just regular old mail works as well too. And we're so grateful for all of your love offerings and also your prayers and your time and your talent and the energy that you bring here each day. We know that that's what really makes Unity of Omaha come together. So thank you. If you could join me in our monthly affirmation. Oh, absolutely. She has a board meeting because the work is never done. So thank you so much, Pam. And if you could join me in our monthly prosperity blessing. I welcome every blessing in a spirit of gratitude and generosity. And with that, I invite anyone to come up for our walk of abundance.
Went walking through town just the other day with nothing much to do. As the sun came breaking down through the clouds, I never see a sky go blue. I saw a Cajun man with a red guitar singing on the side of the street. I threw a handful of change in his beat-up case and said, play me a country beat. And it sounded like... Met up with some friends outside of town. We were headed towards the lake. I hopped into the back of a jacked up Jeep, felt the wind upon my face. We got to the spot and the sun was hot. Everybody was feeling fine. So we jumped on in for a midday swim. Then we lost all track of time. It was a perfect day. What I'd give if I could find a way to stay. Lost in this moment now. Ain't worried about tomorrow when you're busy living in a perfect day.
Everybody was singing along to some rambling man, the little Curtis Blow, and all them feel-good songs. We danced all night without a care, no place we'd rather be. 'Cause these are the days we talked about when we lived so wild free. It was a perfect day.
Wanna give if I could find a way to stay. Lost in this moment now. Ain't worried about tomorrow when you're busy living in a perfect day. We were sitting in the sand as he grabbed my hand and he leaned in for a kiss. Couldn't help but think with the stars above, it don't get much better than this. It was a perfect day. Wanna give if I could find a way to stay. Lost in this moment now. Ain't worried about tomorrow when you're busy living. Feels like dreaming, slowly drifting through this perfect day. Na 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 na.
And please join me in blessing these love offerings. We know that we are so grateful for all that we are able to share within Unity of Omaha and outside these doors of Unity of Omaha, knowing that the love, the compassion, the love offerings, the talents, the time, the prayer, everything is moving out into the world and co-creating something that works well for all, knowing that we are all ever connected in the divine and all is well, and so it is. Amen. And so if you will join me in our closing prayer, please stand for the prayer for transformation. The light of God is in me. The love of God moves through me. The power of God transforms me. And the presence of God is who I am. Wherever I go, God is, and all is well. Have a wonderful day.